Hello, welcome back to Inside the Data on Inside the Birds. And of course, I'm Geoff Mosher alongside our data and analytics expert, I should say, Sam Finkel. What's going on, Sam? How you doing?
What an intro. I appreciate
I've been working on that.
It definitely can tell. It looks great. It sounded great for sure.
Yeah, if I had done it too long, then you would have heard my voice crack. So I had to do it really quick. I'm not Michael Buffer. I can't carry that thing for 25 seconds. So I did it perfectly there. Great to have you. And very appreciative because we are going to do a two-part Inside the Data series. This show is part one that everybody's listening to now. We're gonna recap the trade deadline, specifically the Eagles moves. I also want to get your insight, whether it's analytically or not, just on some of the other moves around the NFL. And then in part two, which will come out later this week, we're going to kind of summarize 5 major themes of the first half of the Eagles through an analytics lens. And it's going to be really comprehensive. So very excited about that show as well. So everybody gets a 2-for-1 deal this week. Two Inside the Datas with Sam Finkel in 1 week. I'm sure that's like have an early Christmas present, Sam.
That's very kind. I hope everyone feels the same way.
I'm sure they do. Why wouldn't they? Just your first reaction. Now, last time we did an Inside the Data, the Eagles had already traded for Michael Carter II, so we went through that. And the thing with him was that there was a small sample size this year to work with, but we were able to get contextual with his career. Talk about an even smaller sample size, Jaire Alexander, who's only played about 60 snaps this year. But in general, when you fold in Carter II, Jaire Alexander, and Jaelan Phillips from Miami, putting the analytics aside, just overall, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they're pretty low risk, high reward moves, and you don't normally see that, particularly the Alexander trade. They didn't really give up that much. And, you feel pretty good if he can return to form, and it's a big if.
Right.
With the Phillips trade, I also feel like you feel pretty good because if he doesn't work out for whatever reason, I mean, it's another body and they need the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the comp pick if he leaves next year. So you feel pretty good just based on what was given up and what is really at stake.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think, like, honestly, it's a pretty low risk, high reward, which again, you don't normally see. So
yeah, I would agree. And in a case like the Alexander one, where you give up like a future 7th to get back a 6th, which is I think what the deal was.
I think it's the other way around. I think we gave us the Eagles gave a 6th and gave a 7th as well. Like it was
the Ravens. Yeah, I got murdered. The Ravens sent Alexander and a future 2027 7th round pick to the Eagles in exchange for a 2026 6th round pick. Yeah, you're correct. So that is just such a low exchange of picks that could wind up being, even though they're in different drafts. Like, I don't even consider it a trade, to be honest with you. It's just like the Eagles got Jaire Alexander. And who knows at that point, though, because you and I both know both these teams are going to trade that pick that they got from each other 7 times over before they actually make the pick. So,
and we'll track every second.
Oh, I know we will. Yes. So okay. So the Eagles improved themselves. I think we both feel that way. Some teams took really big swings out of their ankles, I might say, and we'll see. But the Eagles, I thought not moderately, they improved themselves without bankrolling their future or leaving themselves in, a scary territory going down the road.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. So what we'll do is take a look from an analytics standpoint of the data that you compiled here on the trade acquisitions. Let's get into the Is it Jaire? See, Coach still calls him Jari. I think it's Jaire, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Jaire.
Yeah, I got to get on Greg on that one. But just as you laid it out, here are the terms of the deal. The Eagles get Alexander and next year, 2027, 2 years from now, 7th round pick, and the Ravens get a 6th round pick from the Eagles, of which I think they have a few, as they typically do. So let's now look at the data that you compiled here on Jaire Alexander, and I'm going to let you take it away with what you think stands out.
Yeah, I mean, again, small sample size, but I was able to use the same chart that I did for Michael Carter, and all the snaps Jaire Alexander has done this year has been on the outside, so it worked out really well. again, not a great QBR, 118.8, which would be the worst among every corner in the corner room.
Yep.
And he allowed 5 targets, 5 receptions, 116 yards, 30 after catch, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And then you look at those like relative stats, and it's 2.7 yards per coverage snap, 8.6 snaps per target, and 8.6 snaps per reception, because again, it's the same number.
Right.
Which, that yards per coverage snap is the highest among relevant corners. I mean, Perry Nickerson would be higher at 3.5, but he's only had 4 coverage snaps. So I'm not sure it's particularly fair to say. But again, there's a small sample size, and there really wasn't that much opportunity for Jaire Alexander in Baltimore after he got hurt and he was a healthy scratch. There was some, there's a reason why Baltimore moved on from him too,
Yeah.
So
I probably said it already on too many different podcasts throughout the week. Like, it's hard to get past the context that the Ravens were one of the worst defenses in the NFL for the first 6 to 7 weeks, and they would not play him even when he was healthy. Now, just being healthy, to be fair, right, means you can play, but it doesn't mean your conditioning is there. He obviously had the knee. I think he had knee surgery, and then he was slowed up in camp. So, like, Brandon Graham right now is healthy, but I don't think the Eagles are ready to play him for an entire game, so to speak. So it's your conditioning that really matters the most. And maybe they just felt like he was not conditioned. Now, I don't know how that helps the Eagles, who really need an answer at CB2, unless they feel like 4 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, or even maybe sooner than that, they can get his conditioning up to be the player that he was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, you don't necessarily know if he's even going to be that player again, but if you can get, 80% of that, you feel pretty good at your second position.
Right. Well, the mission here is, can I get something that's better than what I've been getting from Adoree Jackson or Keely Ringo?
And I think 80% of what Jaire Alexander has been in his career feels really good there.
I agree. If you can get 80% of what Jaire Alexander has been, you've got yourself Darius Slay last year. That's how I would look at it. Yeah. I just think at this point, that's a pretty big if, given, the drop off and the Ravens were excited to get this guy. And even Howie Roseman said he thought it was a great move by the Ravens, because what the Ravens wanted to do was be able to play Jaire Alexander outside and then play Nate Wiggins, their first round pick from last year, outside, play Marlon Humphrey, their all-pro corner, who's a great hybrid corner, at the nickel, and then keep Kyle Hamilton, their all-pro safety, at safety. What they've wound up doing has not hurt them too much, because their defense is getting a little better. They've just basically moved Humphrey back to the outside opposite Wiggins and moved Kyle Hamilton to that nickel role, that slot corner role, and then just replaced him with a different safety. And Hamilton is so good as a nickel safety that it really seems like they've been okay. I mean, again, bad defense, but their last game, I know it was against the Dolphins, but they started to look better and they got healthier. I mean, a lot of their defensive issues were their injuries. Hey, it's Geoff Mosher. And if you have a family and kids at home like me, you always want them to be fully protected. That's why I'm thrilled to be a Simply Safe customer. And our house is equipped with the most technologically advanced alarm system you can get. If you could actually stop someone from breaking into your home before they got inside, why wouldn't you? Traditional security systems only react after a break-in, but Simply Safe is different because it stops crimes before they happen with Active Guard outdoor protection. Their AI-powered cameras detect threats while they're still outside your home, and they alert real security agents. These agents take action while the intruder is still outside and confront the intruder to let them know they're being watched on camera and police is on the way. And that's how you stop a crime before it's committed. There's no long-term contracts or hidden fees. You can cancel anytime, and it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Try it and see the difference for yourself. Do not miss out on Simply Safe's biggest sale of the year, 60% off. Our listeners get 60% off a Simply Safe home security system at simplysafe.com/bird. That's simplysafe.com/bird.
Yeah, and you're teeing me up perfectly, because I wanted to talk a little bit about their defense compared to the Eagles defense, just because, a lot of your statistics depend on everyone else, especially on defense. So I think that's a good way to talk about it. But before we do that, I have a very fun fact for you.
Oh, boy.
Both the Eagles trades post Michael Carter were the 18th overall pick for in their relative respective drafts.
So Jaire Alexander was the 18th overall pick of the Packers, and Phillips was the 18th overall for the Dolphins?
Yes.
That's crazy. How about that?
I just wanted to say that one right now. That's a fun fact, but let's go into the actual substantive stuff really quick.
Okay.
If you go down on the chart, you can see a comparison between the Ravens pass defense and the Eagles pass defense. And I just think that's worth just discussing, because I think it really depends on, your people surrounding you, especially at corner. I think corner is a really important position that is dependent on, the pressure, dependent on everybody else. There's a bunch of things. So first off, let's talk about passing yards per game. The Eagles have been allowing 215.9, and the Ravens 232.2. So just with that said, the Eagles, that's 25th, and I'm sorry, that's yes, that might be. Hold on one sec. I gotta just check something, because it's different than what I had on the
pass yards per game. You're checking?
Yeah, because it's different on the other.
What you were about to say was correct, but I mean we can recheck the rankings again.
I'm pretty sure it is correct. I just wanted to check really quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, right, because it's defense. Yeah, never mind. I was looking at our offense. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, so the Eagles pass defense, it has been. I just wanted to see where that is relative to everyone else, and that is
25th is what they are in passing yards, I believe.
17th, actually.
Oh, 17th? Okay.
So 25th would be their offense. That's what got me too.
For
a quick second. I want to make sure that always we're given the right, statistics.
Good job.
So
I hit the same button. So yeah, 17th.
I had a little mini, did I get it? I did not get it wrong. We're good.
All right. So
17th, just because I wanted to give context to it.
Yeah.
The pass yards per play, Eagles is 6.1, the Ravens is 6.2. Not a huge difference there.
Right.
Huge difference in the passing touchdowns allowed. Eagles 8, Ravens 20, and a huge difference in the EPA per pass. So the Eagles are negative 0.19. Remember, negative is really good for defense. You don't want it to be positive. And the Ravens are closer to that zero mark at negative 0.04. And then, importantly, the time to pressure, Eagles at 2.51 and the Ravens at 2.63.
Yep.
So it just means that the Eagles' pressure is getting there faster. They're a better pass defending team in general, both on EPA and yards per game allowed. So I think that those are important contextual details that have impacted to some extent Jaire Alexander's performance. And again, we talked about how the Ravens defense got better. So these statistics actually improved. So when Jaire Alexander was on the field, they were actually probably worse.
Right. So I guess what we can kind of glean from this is a little bit is maybe if his conditioning gets better and within a better environment, then maybe you get what we were talking about, that 80% of the player that he used to be, and you've benefited from that.
Exactly. That's the thought process. And again, best case scenario, he does return to that form, return to 80% of that form, whatever that number is. Like, we're just putting a number out there. And that would be a solid outside corner that you would be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. One thing that I'm going to introduce also conceptually here, just which might explain some of those numbers, is anybody who's watched the Ravens not only knows that they've had a lot of injuries, but they lost Nnamdi Madubuike, who's a really good interior pass rusher. They've really struggled to generate a pass rush. So they had to blitz a lot more than the Ravens typically blitz. In fact, their blitz percentage, according to Pro Football Reference, is, I have it as 10th right here at 25.6. And that's pretty high for them. They're usually a front four. They're like the Eagles. They're usually a front four dominant team, a pass rush dominant team. They're not afraid to blitz, but it's not really what they've done. But because they've had to, it's probably put their corners and defensive backs in not the best categories. And as your time to pressure shows, they haven't really been getting to the quarterback, even with their blitzing, as much as they'd like to, or as fast, as quickly as they'd like to. So now you put Jaire Alexander in a better defense that might have just upgraded, well, definitely just upgraded its pass rush with Jaelan Phillips, and you start to like, you can see, I guess, the way the wheels turned in Howie's head, where maybe you get something better because of that.
Just so you know, the Ravens were 26th in blitzing the year before.
Yeah, great. So that just shows you the extremes that they've had to go through to get pressure generation this year. And the Eagles are also higher in their blitz percentage this year. I think Vic ended last year around somewhere between 19 and 21%. And I know this year it's up because they also have struggled. They're at around 22, 23%.
Eagles were at 19.3 in 2024.
Right. Yeah. And so they're up. Plus their man coverage is up as well. But that might actually, I think the idea is that goes back to normal now that they add Jaelan Phillips, who we'll talk about in a second. And again, that's just, if you can play more zone and blitz less, that helps your corners out.
Yeah, they're at 23.6 this year, which is, so you're absolutely right. And another thing that is important with that context is because they are blitzing so much, you don't have as much help in other coverage shells. I mean, one of the benefits of not blitzing is that you have more guys in space to cover, particularly when you're in zone. But also when you're in man, you have safeties and other people that can help in different actual zones. And that helps significantly. So when you blitz, you have less people that can support.
Right. Absolutely. That's why Vic Fangio is famous for not throwing a single blitz at the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And look how that worked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. Let's move on to Jaelan Phillips. And as you have it here, the Eagles give up a third-round pick. Now, they had two, which is why Howie Roseman gets a lot of credit for not having to ever bankroll the future, right? He had two third-round picks to begin with. And so from the Jets trade of Hassan Reddick that a lot of people have forgotten about. And so they still have a third-round pick and just get rid of this one.
Yeah, and they kept the Jets' third-round pick, which is notable because it would be considerably better pick.
Yes, and the Jets are off to a terrible start, and they are probably not, with the trades that they just made, probably not going to win too many more games the rest of the year anyway. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. So this trade, again, you teed it up perfectly. But let's look at that edge room really quick. And you see a lot of red on there.
Yes.
You never feel good when you see a lot of red on my charts.
No.
It's just in general.
The worst part is your red is not all just like poor stats, but like injuries too,
and
injuries and retirements. Yeah, you have a cancel out for those who are just listening and can't see the color codes. There's like not only red, but there's like these almost like a teacher's red penning through like Zadarius Smith. Like you're gone, dude.
Yeah, thanks for contributing. But so what is interesting though is, I mean, you look at these statistics, and if you ignore Phillips, I mean, you don't have as much production. But when you put Phillips in there, it's all green. Almost everything is green. He immediately becomes your best pass rusher. Right. Immediately.
Right.
It's kind of interesting. And this is not a sample size thing at all. Right. You look at the pass rushes, he has the most out of everybody in the entire room at 181.
This is incredible because this would actually be considered not, I don't want to call it a down year for Jaelan Phillips, but, coming back from the two major injuries he's had last year, his numbers aren't what they were, say, prior to those, to when he played for Vic a couple of years ago when he was setting the world on fire, and yet he's still green compared to the rest of the Eagles pass rush here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're right. Those injuries are tough. I mean, the torn Achilles in 23 and the partially torn ACL in 24, those are tough injuries to come back from. But he's getting healthier. He's in a scheme that he's thrived in, and he immediately becomes your best pass rusher. Immediately. That's why I feel really good about this trade. I mean, you look at it, he's had the most hurries. He's had the most sacks, which is not that special because you look and there's not that many sacks in his edge room. Zarius Smith was leading the room as a retired player and hasn't played for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, which is never good. He would lead in pressures. He leads in pass rush per pressure. He leads in win rate significantly, 19.3%.
That's huge. Yeah.
Elite. Absolutely elite win rate. Everybody else is in the single digits. Nobody else is in the double digits. And also really good get off at 0.86. Agbo Akarkwankwo has the best win rate. I mean, best get off at 0.6, but he's only had 2 pass rush opportunities. So I'm not sure that's particularly fair or accurate for him.
If you took away the guys who were retired, Zarius Smith, and on IR, and you just made this, and even Patrick Johnson, since he's not on the 53 anymore, if you just made this about the top 3 of Phillips, Hunt, and Uche, then I'm pretty sure Jaelan Phillips gets almost a clean sweep in every single category. The only thing he doesn't have more than is quarterback hits, of which Alex Hunt has 7 and Phillips has 4, but every other category he would be the winner, I believe.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Well, that tells you something, doesn't it?
It does tell you something, for sure.
I'm glad you put together the right side column for people who are just listening. You know, it starts off with giving the hurries, the hits, the sacks, and the pressures, and showing how much more Jaelan Phillips has than the rest. But we always say, Sam and I both always say, sometimes those can be misleading. If you have 3 times as many pass rushes as somebody else, then your stats are, of course, are going to look better. But what is your rate, right? The fact that he wins in pass rush per pressure, or wait, no, PR, yeah, right? What's PR per pressure? Yeah, pass rush.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, meaning how many times does he pressure on a pass rush? He wins in that. He wins in his win rate, again, for those who can only listen, is 19%. The next highest is Alex Hunt at 9%, a little less than 9%, and Uche at 8.5%. So you're talking about a guy who more than double and almost tripling the win rate of the other 2 guys. So I think that's really impressive.
Yeah. So honestly, best trade that they've made, honestly, this year.
Yep. So I would agree. Now, we could have taken a deeper dive if we wanted to, Sam, but I didn't. I asked you for just the stats that we normally go to. Phillips plays inside quite a bit against in Miami's defense because they have Chop Robinson, Penn State, and Bradley Chubb. So I don't think he's going to occupy that kind of a role in Vic Fangio's defense here because they just need more from their edges and they have pretty good interior pass rushers. But I would probably wonder like how much when you put a great pass rusher like that inside against guards, does that help inflate the win rate and the get off a little bit? That would be the only thing I'd wonder about that.
Yeah, probably. It probably would factor in. Yeah,
not enough to say that 19% compared to the 8.8 and 8.5 or it's just like it's like misleading. It's not misleading. He's just not good a pass rusher.
Even if it regresses, you would still take even a 5% decrease you feel really good about. So
right. Hey, I still like a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink, and that's why I looked for a great alternative and I found one. It's called Soul's Out of Office Gummies. You get the same light, happy buzz, but you don't have the hangover. There's no sugar, and you don't get that awkward feeling the next morning. They help me unwind and ease into my evening without the alcohol or the next day fog. Soul is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Soul specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance your creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strengths, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe. From a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. They've also got a variety of products specifically designed to help you get a better night's rest, including Soul's top selling sleep gummy, a fan favorite for deep restorative sleep. So bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Soul today. Right now, Soul is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. So go to getsoul.com and use the code BIRDS, BIRDS. That's getsoul.com, promo code BIRDS for 30% off. What is what is considered an elite win rate for an edge rusher?
Yes, I have those statistics. Give me one sec. I want to say exactly the right thing, so give me one sec.
No problem.
For an edge, you typically want so what I have is poor is less than 7%, average is 10 to 15, and elite is like 20.
Okay, so he's right on the cusp of being, above average to elite there with the win rate,
which is better than anything that they had. So
absolutely.
And honestly, if you're saying that he played on the inside, that number goes down a little bit. Elite is closer to 15%.
Right. All right. Another Dolphins Eagles comparison. This is the same thing that we did with the corners, or I'm sorry, the defense, the pass defense, but now the pass rush, I guess, correct? Yeah.
I mean, it's the same statistics pretty much. I mean, exactly the same, but it's just comparison, right? I mean, that should not say Ravens.
I know.
Dolphins. It had the right colors, just not the right name.
It did.
Basically, what's important here, Dolphins actually allowing less pass yards per game at 198.1.
Yeah, that's because you can run for 200 yards against them if you want to.
Exactly. They've been awful against in their run defense, and teams have been taking advantage of that. And that's what I was going to go to with the second point is their yards per play is 6.8, which is a significant difference from 6.1 that the Eagles have been allowing. They almost double in pass touchdowns allowed. Eagles have allowed 8, Dolphins have allowed 15. And then their EPA per pass is jarring.
Oh my God.
The Eagles are at minus 0.19, as we said, and the Dolphins are at plus 0.15. So it's not like you can't beat them by passing, and teams have been, and they've been, leading to scores every time they pass against them. And then interestingly, their time to pressure is slower than the Eagles, which honestly leads me to a bigger point about the Eagles pass rush is they're getting pressures. They're just not getting sacks. That's where I would say. And I think getting a guy like Phillips gives you an opportunity to convert those pressures into sacks.
I imagine that was the whole point, right, of Howie Roseman making that move, thinking that he's got something that will add to what he has, which is probably better than it might look on paper. But when you add somebody like Jaelan Phillips, it's like the rising tide lifting all the ships. Like everybody benefits from that. And I'll leave it at this. When he had his very good year under Vic 2 years ago, before the injury, he was playing really well. So was Christian Wilkins, the big interior pass rusher who had 9 sacks that year. So if you put Jaelan Phillips on a line that has a really good interior pass rusher, like, I don't know, Jalen Carter, then it probably leaves a lot of one-on-ones, more so than Jaelan Phillips was probably seeing this year with not a whole lot of interior pass rush on that Dolphins D line.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great point. And I think, just make each other better. That's at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do. So
that's right. Okay, great stuff. That is our trade deadline recap. In our next episode, we're going to recap the Eagles' 5 major themes analytically of the first half as they get ready for the second half of the season. That'll do it for this episode of Inside the Data. For Sam Finkel, I'm Geoff Mosher. We'll catch you all on the next one.